Ain't No Half Steppin with Marcus J, live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. Thank y'all to everybody who has been rocking with us tonight. We just announced the brand new show that's going to be joining Legacy Internet Radio. The Urban Serengeti is going to join our station here on April the 6th, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. Our brother, Reverend Darnell Carruthers, is going to be leading that show, and he, of course, you've heard him here, this dynamic speaker, this dynamic, articulate brother who joined us here in the first segment. He's going to have to leave us here tonight, but I wanted to give him an opportunity to address you guys one last time before he rolls on out. Brother.
Just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. My sister's right here. Looking forward to working with you, just putting some things together. And to anyone who's listening, and this is something I encourage everybody to do, and that's simply to keep pressing, keep praising, but most importantly, never stop singing your song. Peace.
You got it, my brother. Thank you so much for being here, man. And I'll just ask Mr. LP if he could properly, greet you guys on the way out, that way that they're okay. You take care of that for me, brother? All right. Ain't No Half Steppin with Marcus J, live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. Of course, that brother is going to be dynamic. I can't wait till the Urban Serengeti, led by our brother, Reverend Darnell Carruthers, debuts on April 6, 2016, Wednesday night from 7 to 9. All right. It's time for us to ask the question.
What's the question?
What the hell is the question? All right. I'm not even going to tell the story. I'm going to let the news report tell the story. So, listeners, open up your ears. Crew, open up your ears. Listen to this story, and then we're going to talk about it. This is from news station, Fox News, in whatever city this is. I'm sure it'll tell all that. Take a listen.
This terrifying video of a shooting at a Detroit gas station. Tonight, a new twist to the story.
It turns out the targets of those bullets were brothers. One of them was wounded. The other brother saved his life. But tonight, that brave lifesaver is in jail. Fox News explains why. Darren.
Right, Devon Todd, considered a hero, especially when you see that video. He took down the gunwoman and then rushed his brother to the hospital. And even though Detroit police cleared him, we've learned he's also behind bars tonight.
He can't be no prouder. He saved his brother's life.
David Todd Sr. praising his son Devon, especially after watching this surveillance video, which captured 3 of his sons at the mobile gas station on Fenkell in Detroit. While Devon ran into the gas station to buy some cigarettes, you can see a man and woman approach the car with 2 of his brothers sitting inside. Devon tries to intervene.
Came out the gas station, stood by and listened to what was going on. He said, what's wrong with this guy? And, as he got aggressive, he just hit him. The guy fell out.
That's when the woman reaches under her skirt, pulls out a gun, and fires it into the car, striking Devon's brother, David Jr., 3 times. Devon takes the woman down and then wrestles the gun out of her hand.
Got the gun away from her. She's at the same time, she's yelling, get the other gun, get the other gun. He was stuck for a minute. He said, Daddy, I just reacted. He said, I thought he was going to kill David.
David says his son grabbed the weapon and drove his brother straight to the hospital. Once his brother was stable, David says Devon drove to the Detroit Police Department and turned himself and the woman's weapon in. Detroit police investigated and tell Fox 2 they cleared Devon of any wrongdoing and let him go. But on Monday, Devon's parole officer had him hauled off to jail, claiming what happened was a violation of his parole.
I don't understand that. He saved my one son. He's in jail on his way to prison for saving his brother's life. And I can't digest that.
David says when Devon was younger, he was convicted of armed robbery and served 5 years in prison. But at 24, he was working to turn his life around. He had a job and spent his free time with his family. David says his son does not deserve to be punished for doing the right thing.
He did all that. Now, because he's approached by somebody silly, he got to sit and he got to make, go do how much time in jail for what?
Now, looking for some answers, I put a call into Devon Todd's parole officer with the Michigan Department of Corrections. Still waiting to hear back tonight. You know, this crystal clear video, the surveillance video, is part of DPD's new initiative. We've heard about Project Greenlight at these gas stations, and it's working. Hours after we revealed the female suspect's picture, she was identified and arrested. Huon, back to you.
Taryn, it still doesn't make sense. Devon risked his life to save his brother David. How is defending a life a violation of parole?
Well, again, we're looking for answers from the parole officer, but according to Dad, it's because he left the scene of the crime. That's what his son was told. But, of course, he was trying to get his brother to the hospital. He was also in possession of the suspect's weapon, but Detroit police cleared him. So everybody tonight wants to know, why didn't the parole officer? So we'll be certainly keeping tabs on this.
Taryn, before we go, do these people know each other? Did Devon know this woman?
No, they did not, and that was the whole thing. He recognized that the woman and the man were a bit belligerent and starting to mess with his brothers, and that's why he came out of that gas station and really kind of intervened. But no, I mean, it all happened so fast, they said, and he really just tried to diffuse the situation as quickly as possible.
And that video makes it very clear. All right, Jerry, thank you.
Ain't no ask that with Marcus J. Now, we're having a lot of very, very interesting conversation during the break here, and as we're, not break, but of course, as you guys are listening to that clip, and we're listening to that clip. So give everybody a chance to speak their piece. Big bro Joe, you up first, man.
I'm up first. First of all, Marcus, this is the aptly named segment because this is a darn show what the hell moment.
Yes, that is.
I mean, truly and honestly, I understand the law, been law enforcement, have done a lot of things. But if you listen to the segment, folks, the police department cleared him, but the parole officer violated this young man because he had a weapon that he took away from an assailant who shot his brother. And he left the scene of a crime to get his brother to the hospital. Then he immediately turned around and went to the police station, turned himself in. That is some ooh-wee. That is injustice of our justice system. Now, I got a lot of people, and I know I can go back and forth because I do understand that did he break the law? Yes.
Black Republican time.
Oh, you for real?
Yeah, he for real.
Early. I didn't believe him.
I'm so sincere. But here's the thing. Yes, the result is some BS. But, I mean, it's to me what I see is I see the law being carried out. Now, that's why we have judges. I hope and pray that that brother gets before a good judge who will then interpret the law as it pertains to this particular case. Because here's the thing. By the letter of the law, yeah, he violated his parole. I mean, that's a fact.
But the law of the land says you could be able to defend yourself.
No, true. Now, that's again why I say I hope this brother gets before a judge with some sense. I learned very early, you don't argue with police, you don't argue with parole officers. You get a lawyer who argues before a judge, though. Like, police are just gophers. They're the people who...
But they're reactionary.
They're reactionary, but they're gophers. They working for that man.
But the police had the good reaction. The reaction was...
The probation officer blew it.
Yeah, the probation... I'm sorry, y'all. The probation officer blew it.
He blew it by not being a human being. But at the end of the day, he did his job. So I'm hoping that a judge comes... I'm hoping a judge does his job.
Didi, jump in.
All these probation officers, and no disrespect, I have friends who are, but come on. He picked this time to do his job.
Right.
That's another what the hell moment.
In the meantime, an innocent man is locked up while he's waiting for the judge to try him.
He will be waiting for hopefully a good judge. Yeah.
Here's a recurring theme. Here's a recurring theme with me on the show and just in general, even before we founded this station. I don't care about the law sometimes, for real. Especially when the law does not make room for common sense. And, we get so caught up in law and order that we leave no room for rationality. This was someone who not only was defending his life, his brother's life was in jeopardy because he was shot. He stopped the crime. And, the fact that the police cleared him, okay, great, the police cleared him. But any person that watches the video, and we pretty much did the audio in here and we were talking, so I don't know if everyone in the room has actually seen the video. You really need to see the video to really be able to grasp exactly what's happening. But once you tell me that this chick starts shooting up his brother, he basically disarms her, gets his brother to the hospital, holds on to the weapon from my understanding, and turns it in along with himself. He did everything that if you asked the lieutenant, how should this have been handled, the lieutenant would have told him to handle it pretty much. And this is my opinion. I ain't no cop, but this is how I think that he would be told to handle it. And if you tell me that he did something wrong because he was on parole before, and the fact that he touched the gun,
well,
he deserves to go back to jail. This is where I say I don't care about the law when it's void of common sense.
Well, call it. Call it what it is. That's bullshit.
Of course it's bullshit.
Yeah, well,
And it could have went south, and he could have shot the girl or the other guy.
Thank you. What if he decided to protect his brother and let his his old school ways?
And I wonder now if they would have cleared him of murder.
No.
No. Just follow me. Just follow me. No. Just follow me for a second. Would they clear him for murder because of the self-defense aspect after we saw what we saw, but then put him in jail on the parole violation?
They would have still put him in jail on the parole violation.
You understand what I'm saying? You understand what my question is?
On that. They would have given him a manslaughter charge, number one, because then you have the opportunity, once you disarm that person, you have the opportunity to leave. Now it becomes something else. It's no longer a fight or flight situation. Right. It's you had time to think about pick the gun back up.
But my life was in there. I felt it. I feared for my life.
No, you can do that all day. Okay.
She said, get the other gun.
Oh, I get you.
She said, get the other gun.
But watch this. Now, this is the funny part. If you watch the entire video at the beginning, I would have gave him the charge for straight knocking old boy clean out.
Why does he get a charge for that?
Well, because that's assault.
Yeah, but it's in the commission of you are committing a crime against me. I'm defending
the dude didn't act. The dude wasn't. He didn't see the dude from the video. We didn't see the guy do anything.
Right.
The young lady was the one where I got you very loosely.
Okay, I got you.
Tongue firmly.
She was the one.
Just saying.
Yes, sir. He fit right in.
She was the one who actually initiated the whole thing by going underneath her skirt and pulling out a jammy. Number one, I'm scared of that weapon.
She hiked that joint up.
Yeah, I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
I think, hold on, guys. I want to be clear here. I'm not in any way saying that this is not Bush. I'm not in any way saying that it's not. I guess to be clearer.
It was 6-on-1, right?
Right, and I ain't scared. But my thing is, I think sometimes our energies are misdirected when we have stuff like this happen. I think sometimes we get all outraged because social media gets us all emotional. But instead of hollering at that probation officer, instead of hollering at the cops or write letters to that judge, because that's whose hands it's in now.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? And maybe I skipped a step, but I mean that's just how I feel about it.
I mean, your point, and I'm with you on
that. Let's stay focused in our movement.
But let's look at the focus. You know what? If the police, in correlation with the parole officer, first of all, he did not have to violate him on that.
He didn't have to.
He has the discretion. You're right. It's discretionary. Yep. But you know what, Marcus J., you made a close point. And it irritates me because, like I said, having been law enforcement before, understand this. It was law and common sense don't go hand in hand.
No,
they're not. You can't have law and common sense because law is what? Blind.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that's what frustrates me, and that's why, I've got a friend that's a lawyer, it's an attorney, and my friend and I battle a lot because when these cases come up, we dialogue and we build on them, and we end up basically not together on it, because I'm coming from an emotional perspective and she's coming from, and it's actually one's a defense attorney and one's a prosecutor, and it's both of them that what the hell is that?
Between the sheets.
Somebody's not focused on the show right now. A little horny over there listening to Between the Sheets.
What the hell?
We won't say who that was on the air, but anyway. I have two friends, actually. One of them is defense attorney. One is a prosecuting attorney. And, both of them are very firm in their law backgrounds with regards to how they feel about these cases. And, I acknowledge that I am an emotional person when these things come up. I'm not under any illusions, but I'm also someone that looks at it fairly. Mm-hmm. And what's fair isn't always the law.
Right.
It used to be against the law for ladies to vote.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It used to be, law for them to be able to make you count how many bubbles, from soap.
It used to be against the law for black and white people to get married.
It used to be against the law for blacks and whites to get married. So that's kind of the perspective that I'm coming from. I love the whispering into hot mics, and that's kind of the perspective that I come from when I say these things. You know what I'm saying? And so I get upset. Everybody gets upset. I want to move on to something else because we're short with time on this one.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, we're short with time with this one.
Yeah, that was.
But hold on. People write letters to this judge though. Stop tripping. Facebook ain't gonna do it.
No, it's not. It's not. And I'm a letter writer. I write. I write letters. I write letters all the time. Yeah, I have no issues with that. I write letters all the time.
Where did this occur? Where is this?
This is in Detroit.
Yeah. Okay.
Detroit.
Yeah, right to the judge. Okay.
Ain't no half step more Marcus J. Live from the Dan Legacy Internet Radio. I want this next story up. I want the diva up on this one first. The headline says, "Man protests law requiring him to pay child support for another man's child." Wow. Now I'm gonna read this story. I'm gonna read the story, and I want the ladies to jump on this one first. So. Didi, I want you and the diva to kind of, lead this discussion, and then I'll get the fellas in. Yes. But this one, I'm getting this one from the local CBS station. This story is out of Davenport, Iowa. It is a Quad City man is protesting child support law that requires him to pay for another man's child. Now, for the record, this is one of those cases that I dialogued with my friend who's the attorney, and I'll try to see, because we dialogued on social media, I'm going to try to see if I can find the comments that she put in so that we can kind of add them to the discussion, Diva. But Joe Van Dusen thought it was a joke when he received a certified letter from the Iowa Department of Human Resources last month at his home in Davenport. Quote, "I opened it up and it was child support for a kid that's not even mine. The child was recently born to his long estranged wife, and there's no way that it's his." It gets so much better, y'all. So don't even give me the faces. Let me finish. It gets so much better. Quote, "We've had no contact whatsoever in 16 or 17 years, and the child just turned 1 year old recently. But by law, Diva, by law, Joe is still legally responsible, and the state and its child support recovery unit are telling him he had better pay up. Quote, "I explained to her this is not my child. I'm willing to do a paternity test, and she flat out told me it doesn't matter. You're legally married to her. You're going to pay child support." This is what he was told. Couple broke up but never divorced. And Iowa law and many other states require husbands to pay child support for children that are born during the marriage. Quote, "I think it's wrong. It shows Iowa needs to change their laws. He has 2 biological children, and he is helping to raise 2 non-biological children with his current girlfriend of 5 years. A spokesperson for the Iowa Department of Human Resources says in a case like this, by law, he is considered the legal father of the new child, even though he has not been with the mother in nearly 2 decades. His only recourse is to petition the court to de-establish paternity. That would require going to court and hiring an attorney. He was recently laid off. He said his family is struggling financially, and the lawyer he contacted wants 2 G's up front. Quote, "Unless I come up with this magical $2,000 to pay the lawyer, I don't know what I can do," end quote. I think we got enough, Diva. You're up first. You've heard it set up. What you got?
This is another example of how the law is backwards, and it does not work. Okay, that is not fair that someone who has not been with another person for 17 years, just because he's legally married, he is on the hook for this child that's not his. It's not right. It is not right. So the law needs to be, amendment or something needs to be done, because it's not right. The person who is the father should be the one paying for the child support.
Why is the black Republican shaking his head?
I don't know.
He's down with the law. The law is right.
I thought you liked the law, man.
Hold on, fellas, hold on. Didi, go ahead.
I'm just playing with you.
No, I want the ladies in this one for a reason, specifically.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life, but it is another example of this law has probably been on the books forever. It's probably something from back in the days when, child support laws first started across the nation. They just haven't changed it. But it will change once one of these lawmakers has to pay for a child that his estranged wife had. Why are she? I'm confused. I'm agreeing. I think it's stupid. He shouldn't have to pay it. It's stupid. It's stupid. Why doesn't he create a GoFundMe account?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
You don't have the 2,000 because it costs
He
money.
could have had that money by now.
Can't afford a computer.
Now, let me get some of these comments. I mentioned my friend that's an attorney. It's our sister Tamika, who listens to us from time to time. She and I went back and forth on this one in social media. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of just a little. We talked about. I actually said my comment that sparked her comment was, so if he has a child with a woman, does his wife have to pay child support as well? And where is the biological father in all of this? And because he didn't divorce her, can he file for custody and take his child that isn't his child? This is stupid and outrageous and ludicrous, and I couldn't care less about the law. Not my kid have no rights or responsibility. That's what I said. And then she responded. She says, see, the law was intended to cover the reverse situation to make sure the child has a legal father. She says the law is declaring him the father. He can file for custody and take the child that may not be his biological child, but legally it may be stupid. But what happens in a legal marriage is just that. Don't want the consequences, then dissolve the marriage. End of it. What would most likely happen if the biological father is actively in the picture, they would all go to court together and it would be sorted out there, and the estranged husband would be off the hook. But if the biological dad is missing in action, non-participant, then the legal dad is on the hook. There's just so much more to this than black and white. Now she's an attorney, and that is her perspective. Now, fellas, I know y'all want to get in here, but I see physically what y'all's positions is. So just bear with me for a minute. Dee Dee, jump back in here.
That is the
it's the legal answer.
That's emotional.
No, it is the.
It's the legal
that's
answer.
the answer for the attorney representing the mother in that case.
The law doesn't represent anybody. It's blind.
That's the answer for the attorney representing the mother in that case. This may and for you people to, I'm sorry, you fellas.
You people, huh?
You people.
You want to just go with the you people, huh?
Wait a minute.
You people, huh?
Wait a minute.
I'm not black.
Hey, Diva, she said you people.
For the fellas,
Big bro, she
I'm
said
not
you
black
people.
and I'm from the suburbs. Remember that. For you to say, get out of the marriage, it's not that easy. It costs money. No, it is not. It took me. I can say this personally. You know, I can say it from personal experience. It's not that easy. I filed. It took 3, almost 4 years for that person to respond and finally agree to sign the paper. You know, it's not free to get divorced. It's not free. It's not free to get divorced. It's not free to get divorced.
We held the brothers.
It's not free to get divorced.
Okay, we got you.
Are you divorced? Are you married?
That's a little personal.
Are you divorced?
None of your business, but hold on.
Ask me. Look at me then.
Let me respond then.
Was it free?
Let me respond then.
Was it free?
Actually, yeah, because I had people who took care of mine.
Church.
Oh, I did.
Oh, well.
Stop.
I unfortunately had to pay a lot of money. It's not free.
I got you.
It's not free to get divorced.
We got you. I'm gonna get the fellas in, but what I will say is this: I know someone else. It took a long time for it to happen, and it was largely because one person was unresponsive.
Yes,
and so it can take a long time. I'm just say this, and then the fellas, I'm gonna give y'all ample time, just like I gave the ladies. But I have seen, just like we all have, our grandparents in them generation who live in the same house, and they are essentially divorced, but they just never got the paper. So we know that this happens. B, jump in here.
Man, look, you could literally save $10 a year for 16 years.
Hold up, B. You don't even have to do that.
I mean, so I get it. I get it. No, it's not like lickety split, but there's stuff on the internet. You can get divorced for less than $200. Hold on, I'll let you finish. Let me finish. Here's the thing. The law may be dumb, but this is a case of a man being dumb. If you ain't touched this woman and been around this woman in 16 years, brother, now you ended up looking at a $2,000 that you can't afford when you could have spent maybe a tenth of that 10 years ago. That would still been 6 years out of the marriage. So I'm like, I get that it's dumb, But it's like, bro, this is a case of you not handling your business. Like, come on, man.
Joe?
Hey, and you know what? It's funny.
Come on.
We don't
Hold on, Joe. I can't hear you. Speaking to the mic, bro.
Circumstances behind what happened. We don't know the entire circumstances behind why he didn't get divorced. So that's the reason that I'm pointing out. I don't know about Iowa law. I know about Virginia law. I know that you can post it if they're unresponsible, you can post it in the newspaper for 30 days. If they don't respond, boom, it's a done deal. I know this. Want to know how I know? Fact.
Okay.
Now, to go back.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
To go back to what we were talking about, this young gentleman is stupid. I'm sorry, bro.
Church.
You cannot sit there. I mean, I didn't say the law was right, but I still say 17 years,
Bruh.
you haven't touched her. Guess what?
Bruh.
It's so many things that you can do in this situation. It is so many things. You can find out who the biological father, because you can petition the courts to do a DNA test on that child. He never signed any paperwork. He never signed a birth certificate. He never signed any of this. You can force the hand. You said that he doesn't have
alimony because she done had a baby out of wedlock. If
Yeah.
he took the, if
He
he
can
took
file- he
if he
can
took the
file
time to when he found out she was pregnant, and I would be like, wait a minute, that ain't my baby. Go to somebody then.
probably didn't even
and
think
it
it
wouldn't have
was a
cost
baby.
all of that. It
No.
wouldn't have took all that time. She could have contested all she wanted to.
Let me just take the last.
Girl, bye.
Let me take the last word on this one because I got one more.
Spent money in 16 years.
Let me take the last word on this one because I got one more story I want to get to before we get to the first half of the Diva Diaries that's coming up in the next segment. It's easy for us men in the room to say 17 years you should have did this. It's real easy to say all of that, but as I laid out to you before, we all know those old people that never got divorced.
We do.
We know those, and we know Papa that got 2 and 3 families. Like he got 2 and 3 families because he didn't get divorced from Mama. So for us to act like this is, he's stupid, it's his fault and all that kind of stuff, like there should have been some responsibility taken, but that could have been any one of us. It just could have been. It could have been any one of us, and I think we would be disingenuous to not sympathize with the fact that the state is making this man pay child support for a child that he
Marcus
doesn't.
J,
That's
I
not
think you're
his.
getting us twisted. I don't think
Oh, no.
none of the men are sitting here saying
That the law is right.
The law is right, and
Okay.
that we're
just
not
saying he's
on this brother's
stupid.
side. We're saying that the circumstances that led up to the situation
Right.
are dumb.
Right.
We're saying that you just because you don't think you can get a vote, you saying 17 years,
Right.
And this person never
A
even
slave.
took the time to want to get out of the marriage, to dissolve it. You just did like our folks did back in the day and just
Left.
got on with it. Yeah, it just left.
Let me get a couple of comments in. Hakeem is listening. I'm late getting his comment in, but he's going back to the last case that we did, talking about the brother who had the parole violation. He said he didn't break the law. The police cleared him of wrongdoing. Parole violations aren't always law violations. I know people who broke parole by wearing certain color or being out past a certain time. So I think we all agree that was baloney. Last thing I want to get to in this segment before we get to the Diva Diaries, I had a post up on social media a couple of days ago that basically said that I'm personally more afraid of Donald Trump and Rafael Cruz than I am of Muslims. That was my post, and the reason why I had that posted, there's the New American Foundation. It's a think tank funded by prominent universities and foundations. They've been keeping track of all terrorist attacks on American soil since 9/11 and found that not only have white terrorists killed more Americans than jihadists, but attacks by white terrorists are also twice as frequent, with 18 homegrown terror attacks between 2004 and 2015, and just 9 terror attacks rooted in Islamic extremist ideology. And so we all know about the guy that shot up Arizona with Gabby Giffords, and we know about the guy in South Carolina that shot up the church, and we know about the guy that shot up the Sikh temple and all of these kinds of things. What I want to have just a brief conversation about is how you've got Donald Trump wanting to build a wall to keep Mexicans out, and he wants to have an embargo against Muslims coming in, but the statistics actually show, the facts show, that we should be more scared of white males than of Muslims. And so I want to just kind of jump in. Mr. 3375, what you think, man?
I agree, man. Like, they crazy. Like, they the ones going up in there blowing up schools and churches and stuff. I agree, man. Like, the world need to be more afraid of them than they is Muslims.
Well, we have a lot of white folk that listen to the show that may potentially get in their feelings when they hear this. You know, I was blogging with one of my white brothers from high school earlier today. He had a post up that was a meme that basically said, you can say black pride and you have definition and all of these great things, and then Asian pride, all of these great things, and Latino pride, all of these great things, white pride, and that's synonymous with racism and white supremacy and KKK. And so he was, he didn't say much about it, but the fact that he posted it, and I know him personally, he's a friend of mine, he's a brother of mine, he was kind of offended by that. And I guess I respect that, but, I think that we have, this thing where we whitewash in this country, when we can have facts that tell us that white folk is more likely to shoot up and blow up shit in this country since 9/11 than the Muslims are, and that's some real shit. That's some real shit.
That's real.
That's some real shit.
But I think it has more to do with the numbers. Let's be real. There's more white people. I don't care what
it's a billion Muslims. If they wanted us dead, we all be dead.
I'm talking about within the country. I'm talking about within the country. Like in the United States. Let's be real. Like
okay.
The numbers of it all. That's why I'm kind of leery about when you put a color or a face or any type of race on ignorant mofos, because you got them in all races. Now it's easy to look across from you and see your difference or see your counterpart and respond to the numbers and the statistics of that.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, I mean, if you were to in a vacuum, I don't really believe that it's a color thing. I think it's just, again, character.
I can dig that. I think that that's fair. The only issue that I would take with that is the reality is the media.
The response is different.
The response is different. The media makes it seem like the Muslim faith is so bad. And like I was saying, and you're right, so I'm not going to really dispute what you said, but it's 1 billion Muslims in this world. They wanted us dead, we'd be dead. Right. Like real talk. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And there were terrorist attacks, in Africa this weekend.
Right.
Yeah. Does anybody know about that? No.
But hold up. What about the wildlife reserve? Did they get that back yet from the white brothers?
Nigeria.
That was the school. Right?
The school. Yeah. Boko Haram. They wilding. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, we're not getting reporting on that stuff, but we quick to change our Facebook page to Belgium and France. Right. And that to me is part of the brainwashing that has the American people so in their feelings about the Muslim people. Now, I got another question, and this might ruffle some feathers and offend some people, but I ain't never seen Muslims attack Israel. Now, if the Muslims attack Israel the way they blowing up stuff in other countries, I mean, hey, look, that's a very interesting thing, the fact that you're not seeing terrorist attacks there. You want to jump in here, Mr. LP? You want to jump in here? Because I see you got the face on. What you got?
I can say that they, not in the grand scheme, but they do, as a person has been over there and seen attacks, yes, they do, but not is reported on, and obviously not to the same scale. As far as the brainwashing, I agree wholeheartedly. It's funny that they're the ones that complain about shooting and things, but they're the ones who has the businesses to authorize the parts to make the weapons and everything else. It's funny how they want to blame Muslims for killing, or the MS-13s or the Latin American community or Hispanic community going to take away jobs, but they're the ones that actually exported the jobs. But they want to sit. It's sort of like we're taking your house, but you're the ones that actually authorized the money. So it's the scheme of brainwashing, and that needs to stop and open our eyes.
I think in addition to that, it's a distraction too. I don't think it's funny. I think it's contradictory and it's blatant. It's like, we're saying this one thing, but we're showing you another thing. And I went to school in media. I was a music media major. They actually taught us how to sensationalize and
propaganda.
You take information, which is what news should be, and then you make it entertainment. They teach you how to create bumps and teases and stuff like that.
What's that propaganda relations?
Exactly. It's systematic.
It's how to focus in and out.
So once I understand it, I look at things and I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, ain't no half step on Marcus J. Live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. I want to get a couple of comments in. Our sister Lady Z is listening to us here in the Cap City.
Z.
What's up to you? Love you too. And of course, our sister in the Chi, my sister Melanie, is listening to us from the Chi. We got a lot of love for her as well. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, the Dating Pool Diva is taking over for the first half of the Diva Diaries. And so we're looking forward to that. And later on, Big Sis is going to take over. We've got a special segment coming from her as well. And she just walked in. We'll introduce her on the other side. I got a big, large crew up in this joint. And we are happy to give you Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Live from the den of Legacy Internet Radio.
Holistic care for the mind, body, and spirit. Free Spirit Enterprise